Hi guys, I'm just voicing over this because you can't really hear what we're saying. We're new to videoing, so it's going to take a while. But basically, this car was cutting out, and when we plugged it in, the DPF was quite blocked. So what we decided to do was put a cleaner through, which it kind of melts all the carbon and unblocks it, like just sends it through the exhaust basically. And this was a massive success, actually, better than we thought. We got it pretty damn unblocked. So yeah, this is what we're doing now. We're just unblocking the DPF, trying to dissolve all them carbons basically. Right, so what we're doing here is looking at the numbers. This is basically showing that the cleaner's working, like it's coming out the exhaust and the soot numbers or the carbon numbers are going down. It'd probably be better if Mark explained it to you, but I was learning this day. So we want them numbers really to be between 1 and 5. Mark was saying, 1 and 7, and I think we got it down to a 4. So I'll speed up the rest of the program. Yeah, look, see, now we jumped. That cleaner was just amazing. We were so impressed with it. So I'm going to buy some more in just for future references, I think. Because we were really impressed on how unblocked it became. Right, so what we're doing here is changing the fuel filter because we cleaned the DPF and we had massive success with that. And then we drove it around and it seemed fine. And then we set off home, and just as we got home, the customer was like, "Oh, it did it again, it cut out." So we're like, right, we're coming back. And Mark was like, "Do you know what? I'm going to throw a fuel filter on it." So that's what we did. Threw a fuel filter on it, and this did actually solve the problem. So, but they got the DPF cleaned, and Mark recalculated it so it thinks it's had a new DPF, and the fuel filter sorted. This is why it's so important to get your car serviced every year, because the fuel filter was so clogged up. The fuel wasn't getting somewhere where it needed to go while they were driving it, and that ended up being the reason why it was cutting out on her, and then coming up with an engine management light. It is so important to get your car serviced every year for this reason. So as we were taking fuel out, we could tell it was really dirty, and this gave us hope that this was the issue.
Dot thing right next to the band, like, I don't even know how you can see what you're doing with that. I don't even know how you can see what you're doing with that.
Education.
So we put the fuel filter back together, and we put it back in the car, we test drove it, it seemed fine, we gave it back to the customer, and she hasn't come back, so we're assuming that did fix the problem. So thanks for watching guys, we really appreciate it, love you lots, see you soon, bye!